Honestly, when you hear the name Sisqó, it's almost impossible not to hear his catchy underwear anthem, Thong Song, playing in your head.
It was just this beat that had like a Eleanor Rigby sample on it. My friend comes in and he like, yo, stop the music, boom. Yo, I was with this girl last night and guess what she gave me? I was like, what? What did she give you? And he was like, that thong, 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 thong.
But here's the crazy part. That very hit is also what allegedly made him disappear from the industry. Now sure, some people think Sisqó faded after Thong Song because it was such a massive moment that nothing could ever top it. But what if I told you there were other forces at work behind the scenes? And not just one or two. I'm talking about a lot of forces.
So the Thong Song is going crazy. It's like killing the airwaves. And then, you know, we get that call from our lawyer, like, have a seat. If you're standing up, you might want to take a seat. You know, that's when all the drama started.
I get a call from Def Jam, and they're like, hey, we got a problem here. What's the problem? Well, there's a potential lawsuit from Ricky Martin because we stole the interpolation of "Cause You're Living La Vida Loca."
Did the industry intentionally wage war with him and blackball him for refusing to play the fame game? Was it because he wouldn't bow down to powerful execs who allegedly wanted more than just a handshake? And how did beef with R. Kelly, lawsuits, baby mama drama, and label sabotage all play a role in Sisqó's downfall? Personally, I find it hilarious that hip-hop used to call Sisqó sus, but now hip-hop artists are way more flamboyant than him. But you know what? Let's just get right into it. Okay, just to give a little background. Sisqó first burst onto the scene in the late 90s as the lead singer of the R&B group Dru Hill, helping deliver albums like Dru Hill and Enter the Dru. Then, in 1999, after Woody left the group to chase a solo career, the remaining members decided to do the same. That's when Sisqó dropped his solo debut, Unleash the Dragon, under Def Soul Records in November of that year. At first, the album did okay, nothing crazy, but everything changed in February 2000 when the second single, Thong Song, was released. That record didn't just boost the album, it launched Sisqó straight into superstardom. And as wild as the song was, the way it came together was even wilder. As for how he even came up with the song, Sisqó said in one of his interviews, "I told my homies about it a few days later and suddenly it was everybody's solemn duty to go out and hunt for the elusive thong. One of my boys comes back a couple days later and he's telling a story about a date he was on. And he's like, man, you can never guess what she gave me. Thong, the thong, thong, thong." I bust out laughing. That little ditty just kept playing in my head. I was laughing for like 3 days. I was working on a song at the time and I was trying to come up with the hook. I was like, what if it's that right here? It would totally fit. At first, it was kind of a joke. Then we ended up laughing all the way to the bank. For those who recall, the song became one of the catchiest hits of 2000, and naturally, fans anticipated hearing many more hits from Sisqó. But unfortunately, instead of continuing with the success, he just kinda disappeared. He did have a few gigs here and there. For instance, in 2001, he appeared in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and co-starred in the high school comedy Get Over It. He also acted alongside Cuba Gooding Jr. in Snow Dogs, and the following year, he had a small role in the indie hit Pieces of April. In 2006, Sisqó also appeared in the teen comedy Surf School, and in addition to his film roles, he also made appearances on several award shows, talk shows, and reality shows. But generally, after the success of the Thong Song, Sisqó disappeared. So, what in the world happened to him? Well, for starters, people close to Sisqó have said he refused to play the industry fame game. He chose music integrity over commercial trends, and that didn't sit well with executives, which reportedly led to him being pushed aside. His unwillingness to compromise likely played a big role in him getting quietly blackballed. And this isn't just hearsay either. Sisqó himself has spoken about this more than once over the years. He even told ABC News, "The kinds of things that business partners want you to do to promote your music. A lot of times, it takes precedence over the music itself. The music industry has changed so much. On one hand, you want your peers to continue to respect you as an artist. You want people to buy the music, but you don't want to, quote-unquote, sell out. So I've been doing the best I can to walk that line of creativity and trying to sell the music. When he did his interview with Noisy, he also kind of said the same thing. And in his words, "A lot of the decisions I made, in terms of people not seeing me in the mainstream anymore, were the sacrifices I had to make to achieve anything. At the end of the day, the core of what I want is to make good music. But I think you can get to a level where the business interferes with the music. With the exception of a few artists, now it's all quantity over quality. I didn't want to put out a bunch of stuff just because. I've got millions of songs laying around. But I think that's irresponsible to your fans and to your music. I didn't want to sell out to stay in third of the camera. That's phony. I'll take the long way and see you on the other side." But honestly, there was a lot more that contributed to Sisqó's downfall. At one point, he even spoke about it during an interview with Oprah, where he explained how his mindset around success started causing friction with the label. He said he believed that once you made it, your role became a kind of Robin Hood situation. Coming from Baltimore, where nobody really had much, he felt a responsibility to put his people on. So whenever someone had talent, he was hiring his uncle, his cousin, people he knew, and bringing them into the studio. And that's where the problems started. Sisqó said the label began labeling him as hard to work with, because instead of letting their people run things, he insisted on putting his people behind the console. Instead of using the rapper they wanted, he'd put his cousin on the track. In his mind, it was simple: everybody eats. He said he was just trying to feed his family and bring the money back home to Baltimore. Basically, based on what he said, he wasn't trying to be difficult. He was simply trying to share the fruits of his success with the people he cared about. Well, when it comes to Sisqó, there was also the lawsuits that drained him, and one of the suits was aimed at 27 Red Music, a company hired by Sisqó to collect royalties from various publishing companies for all works released between 1996 and 2005, the largest moneymaker being, of course, the Thong Song. He said they collected but failed to hand over $600,000 to him, and because of that, he was seeking the unpaid royalties plus $3 million in punitive damages. Let's also not forget that in 2002, R. Kelly dropped diss tracks accusing Sisqó's solo work of flopping and biting his style. At the time, Sisqó fired back, calling out unjust blackballing and claiming Nas and R. Kelly tried to hold him. Unfortunately, many fans didn't realize there was serious tension behind the scenes, and going against someone as powerful as Kelly could make or break your career. And for Sisqó, it might have done the latter. Now, the other thing that may have contributed to the downfall, which, by the way, a lot of people think was a major factor, is the allegations that the men in the industry wanted a piece of Sisqó. Now, we all know that in the late 90s and early 2000s, rumors swirled that powerful men in the music industry allegedly made advances toward young male artists behind the scenes. Then comes Sisqó with his flamboyant style, bleached hair, and bold fashion. Technically, that made him a prime target for speculation, but word on the street is he didn't play ball, and he allegedly turned down industry figures who expected favors in exchange for protection and promotion. Combine that with existing gossip about his sexuality, and you will see how these rumors were weaponized to isolate him and question his masculinity in a very toxic, hyper-masculine R&B era. Oh, add on to that the fact that public records indicate Sisqó dealt with baby mama drama from a child born during his tour years, and that kinda also damaged his reputation. And you know what's even worse? Contrary to what y'all think, as much as the song was one of his most significant hits in the music industry, it wasn't necessarily enough to live off of forever. Actually, in 2015, Sisqó spoke to Vlad TV about his success with the song and if it was enough to sustain him through the years. And this is what he said.
Safe to say that the Thong Song financed that 13-year, time? Would that be a fair assumption?
I don't know. Nah, you can't say that. I mean, well, technically, I didn't have to go to work, if that's what you was asking.
In fact, a lot of people were also surprised to learn that a majority of the publishing rights for Sisqó's song are owned by Desmond Child, the writer of Ricky Martin's Livin' La Vida Loca. While it may seem like an odd connection at first, Sisqó does reference the song at the end of all 3 verses, when he sings, "'Cause she was livin' la vida loca." Apparently, the producers cautioned Sisqó about using the interpolation of Martin's song without clearing it first. But as the story goes, Sisqó confidently told them that he had a relationship with Child, so it wasn't a big deal. But since no one cleared the reference before the song's arrival, Martin threatened to sue after it exploded in 2000, and the 2 artists ultimately settled out of court.
We went back and forth with how much they thought they should get for the song.
And all of a sudden, you start seeing your publishing checks going.
Desmond Child has more ownership of the song than anyone. I'll just put it like that.
Anywho, that same year, in 2015, Sisqó also announced that he was finally dropping a new solo album. He even admitted the pressure was heavy, saying that after not releasing solo material for 12 years, it felt like starting over as a brand new artist all over again. Unfortunately, when the album finally dropped, it barely made any noise, and the sales ended up being pretty disappointing. However, when you connect the dots, the label sabotage, the beef with R. Kelly, the lawsuits that drained his coins, the child support drama, and then sprinkle in whispers that powerful DL gatekeepers allegedly wanted more than just a hit record from him, the picture gets real murky. Was Sisqó blackballed for saying no to those advances? Was he punished for not bending over, literally or figuratively, to the machine? Was his flamboyance used against him in an era that loved his voice but hated his shine? I mean, Sisqó might have been singing about thongs, but maybe the real exposure was happening behind closed doors. And because he was probably too ahead of his time, he was a threat and had to go. But what do you think really happened to the dragon? Was it bad luck? Bad business? Or was it all part of a bigger game he refused to play and bend over? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below.